Week number 11 as my hot streak continues 55 and 19 since week 6. I've just been on a roll. What's going on, everybody? I'm Mac, back with another video. As always, do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, follow on Instagram, link down in the box below. These are my week 11 picks of the 2024 NFL season, and I'm going to try and do this as fast as I can because obviously, you could still kind of hear it in my voice a little bit. It is getting a little bit better, but basically just going to try to do it as fast as I can. So let's not waste any time. Let's just get right into it. So, kicking things off, we got Thursday Night Football, and it's my personal game of the week right here. Should be a really good one. We got the Washington Commanders and the Philadelphia Eagles going at it in Philly. As you know, the story with Washington, they took a tough loss to us last Sunday. And then the Eagles, they continue their hot streak as they are 7-2 on the season with a win as well, as they blew out the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, yeah, this is my game of the week. I think this is going to be a great game right here. Two hot offenses going at it here. And I think both defenses are really prone to giving up some big plays. And that's been very prevalent with Philly over the past year and a half or so. Washington, that's been the case with them as well. So really, it's for me personally, it's going to come down to who I trust more with the ball at the end of the game. And for as much as I like Jaden Daniels, for as much as I think that he has all the intangibles to be a top 3 quarterback in the NFL, I really don't know if he can be that quarterback to win it when the game's on the line, minus that Bears game that happened a couple of weeks ago where he had that awesome Hail Mary, but I pin more of that on Chicago right there. But you get the point. So Philly has proven that they can win when they need to make a big play or they need a game-winning play. And for that matter, just because Philly is the home team, I am going to go with the Eagles to win a very hard-fought game over Washington. I'm very torn on this game. I really don't know who to go with. Get hyped. I'm going to be saying that quite a bit in this video. But I'm going to go Philly just because they're the home team. All right, Sunday slate of games. Next, we got the Las Vegas Raiders and the Miami Dolphins going at it in Miami. And to keep it short, I am going to take the Dolphins. The Raiders are a complete and utter joke. I don't care if they're coming off their bye week. They are just a really bad team. The Dolphins are coming off a win over the Rams on Monday Night Football. And, the Dolphins, even though their defense is kind of sus, their offense has been playing much better lately. And taking advantage of a bad Raider defense right there, I think that's going to be your takeaway, as I think Tyreek Hill is due to have a really big game here. So I am going to go with the Miami Dolphins to win this one fairly easily. Okay, toilet bowl number 1. Yes, I got 2 toilet bowls this week. We got the Cleveland Browns and the New Orleans Saints going at it in New Orleans. Oh, man, the Browns, they're coming off their bye as well, but I really don't think that matters, even if Jameis Winston has instilled a little bit of life into the Browns, whatever they may have had left. The Saints finally ended their long losing streak. They knocked off the Falcons, shockingly, in New Orleans, and now the Saints are staying home. So I think that's an advantage for the Saints right there, right off the bat. The Browns, I just don't know if I can fully trust them. I've picked them a couple of times this season, and every time I've picked them, they've lost. So there you go right there with Cleveland. The Saints have kind of been the same way. I've never really gotten the Saints right at any point in this season. So That is just a big determining factor right there. Again, it's just two teams that are just not very good. So I guess I'm going to take the Saints just because they're the home team and just because it's a matchup of two teams that I really don't know who to trust. Two teams I can't trust, two teams I can't sit down here and confidently say that I can pick them to win a game. So by default, I'm going to take the Saints. Okay, right now we got toilet bowl number 2. And again, it's another matchup of two teams I absolutely cannot trust and pick them. It is the Colts and the Jets. So the Colts, they lost it to the Bills last Sunday. Joe Flacco played terrible. He threw 3 interceptions against the Jets, including one of them being a pick six. I think that was his first pass of the game, if I'm not mistaken. And the Jets, they're just abysmal. They had the highest expectations going into the season with Aaron Rodgers playing a full season. They added Devontae Adams a couple weeks ago, and they're 3-7 in their last place in the AFC East. Their defense has just been getting bullied left and right. And with the way that they got demolished by the Cardinals in Arizona last Sunday, that's why I'm sitting down here saying I don't know if I can trust the Jets to win another game. But it's a matchup of two teams that are really bad. I got to pick someone to win. So I'm going to lean towards Indy to win this one because I trust them more than I trust the Jets. And the Colts, they have shown that they give a little bit of fight and they give a little bit of resilience. The times the Jets have lost this season, they've been completely dominated. So I don't know if Indy's going to dominate them, but I'm going to take the Colts to win a very uninteresting game. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Colts, I guess. I don't know. Then we got another easy one. We got the Vikings at the Titans in Nashville as the Vikings, a 12-7 win over Jacksonville. Even though they won, they did not look good in that game against Jacksonville. I mean, sure, it's the NFL. It's not like it's college football where style points matter. It's the NFL where you got to get a win by any means necessary. So good job by Minnesota right there. But Sam Darnold, 3 red zone interceptions. Not a good look, especially against a team like Jacksonville that's just really bad. And Tennessee, I mean, their season has just been in free fall mode since week 1. Their defense has kept them in a lot of games this year, but they cannot get anything going on offense, no matter if it's Will Levis, no matter if it's Mason Rudolph, no matter who it is. They cannot get anything going offensively. So just for that, I'm going to take the Vikings to win this game simply because, like I've said a couple of times already, they're the team that I trust more in this matchup here. And Tennessee, I just can't, trust them to win a game. There have been very few times where I've sat down here and I've had confidence with the Titans winning a game. And going up against a Vikings team that's certainly not great, but they find ways to win and they find ways to pull it off at the end. I think that makes all the difference right here. So I'm going to take the Minnesota Vikings and the very good defensive scheme that Brian Flores continues to put out there with Minnesota. So I'm going to go with the Vikings. Next, we got the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears in Chicago. I don't think I need to say anything more than this is my lock of the week right here. The Packers have absolutely owned the Chicago Bears, not just since Aaron Rodgers was their quarterback, But I'm talking about basically since 1992 when Brett Favre came over there. They have just completely owned the Bears, and it's the most it's the most overrated rivalry in the NFL. Both these teams have never been really good at the same time. And aren't rivalries supposed to be two good teams playing each other? It's the most overrated rivalry in NFL history. I'm going to be talking about a rivalry that's better than it later on, but you get the point. The Bears are a complete and utter mess. They're in free fall mode as well. They lost 19-3 to New England. 9 sacks for Caleb Williams. 1 third down conversion on 14 attempts for the entire game for Chicago. And barely over 100 yards of offense total. Going up against Green Bay, yeah, good luck, Chicago. You're going to need it. Green Bay's my lock of the week, undoubtedly. Well, this one was another candidate for my lock of the week, but I think the thing that holds it back from being my lock is the spread for this one. But we got a very easy one, Jacksonville and Detroit. So, yeah, I mentioned the Jags just a little bit ago. They lost 12-7 to Minnesota. And Trevor Lawrence, regardless if he's in this game or not, for the Jaguars, I really don't think it matters. Detroit is going to win this one very easily. If the Lions can win a game with Jared Goff throwing 5 interceptions, and Detroit became the first team, just a side note, Detroit became the first team to do that, win a game with their quarterback throwing 5 interceptions and trailing by at least 15 points since the 1970 Colts did it. So if Detroit can win a game like that, that just shows you how much of a good team that Detroit is. And I say it week after week. In my opinion, they're the best team in the NFL right now. Matt Laporta has an AC sprain, so I don't know if he's going to be in this game or not. And Trevor Lawrence, like I said, he's likely to be out for the rest of the season with an AC joint injury. So they're looking at starting Mac Jones in this game. But like I said, I don't think it matters. I'm taking Detroit to win this one handily over Jacksonville. Then we got the LA Rams going to New England to play the Patriots, as the Rams coming off a tough loss Monday night to the Dolphins, while the Patriots, as I mentioned a few minutes ago with the Packers and Bears, they defeated Chicago 19-3. New England's just still not a good team. I don't know if they can have any kind of hope going forward, because I just think Chicago is just a really bad team. And they're playing a Rams team that is tough too. But I really don't know if I can call the Rams a legit playoff team at this juncture. But I think they're better than what people say. Plus, they had all the injuries at the beginning of the season, which is why their record is worse than what it is. So, yeah, I'm going to take LA to win this one. I just think that they're a better team than New England is. I think that they have more upside than the Pats do. New England, I just don't know, again, if I can trust them to win a game. I don't see them making it 2 in a row against a Rams team, injuries barring and all. But, yeah, I'm going to take LA to win this game here. We finally get to my matchup here, and it's my rivalry of the week. It is the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers, our first divisional game of the season. It only took 11 weeks, but here it is. The 7-3 Ravens and the 7-2 Steelers. I am really going to try to keep this one at a minimum because I have a lot to say in my preview for this one. So, we all know the deal with the Ravens. They won last Thursday against the Bengals, 35-34, with that very questionable 2-point conversion attempt by the Bengals. But then again, the refs missed 3 face masks on that play. But granted, I don't think Cincinnati should have gone for 2 anyway. I think they should have just took their chances in overtime. But the Ravens are the number 1 scoring offense in the NFL right now. So that's definitely a factor for this game where the Steeler defense, I mean, they gave up a lot of big plays in the win against Washington, and the pass defense in general has just given up a lot of big plays, I would say, since the Colts game. I mean, now with Lamar elevating his passing game when before he was just, a running mobile type of quarterback, but now he's upped up his passing game. That's going to be a really big test for the defense right here. You can't give up you can't give up so many chunk plays, bottom line. But Baltimore, they are a franchise that's proud of having elite defenses, and the Ravens have a bottom tier defense this year. It's not even close. The Ravens have one of the worst defenses in the NFL this season. And I think that's the advantage for us in this game right here is that I think as of right now, our offense is better than Baltimore's defense. With Russell Wilson as the quarterback for the Steelers have the 3rd best scoring offense in the NFL. And yes, we have the number 2 scoring defense in the NFL, so it's the immovable object against the unstoppable force, if you want to say it like that. But like I said, our defense is prone to giving up some big chunk plays. So defense has to be on their toes for this game here, to put it lightly. For as much as I think that the Ravens are going to come in here and they are gonna, and for as much as I think that Lamar is gonna lead the team to a competitive game here, the number one thing that's my deciding factor for this game, Lamar Jackson always struggles against the Steelers. He plays well against just about everybody else, but against the Steelers, he has 4 touchdown passes, 7 interceptions, and he's only completed 58% of his passes against the Steelers. A lot of that, yes, has to do with receivers dropping passes. I understand that, but Lamar has played very poorly in his career against the Steelers, and he has a losing record against them too. So, for that matter, this is going to be my upset of the week. 2nd week in a row, I'm taking the Pittsburgh Steelers to defeat the Ravens in Pittsburgh. Plus, the Steelers have won 7 of the last 8 against the Ravens. And another note here, I looked at this and saw this on Twitter, well, via a tweet from someone on Facebook. This is the first time, believe it or not, since 2010 that the Ravens and Steelers played each other when both teams had the same amount of wins going into the game. I honestly didn't know that. Like, wow. And you know how competitive how competitive, intense, and hot-blooded this rivalry's been over the last 16, 17 years or so. But yeah, Steelers are going to be my upset of the week for the 2nd week in a row. I never pick us to lose to the Ravens. I don't give a crap how bad we are. I don't give a crap how good they are. I will never pick us against the Ravens. But I'm going to take the Steelers as my upset of the week. Next, we got our first slate of a late Sunday game, and we got the Falcons and the Broncos going at it in Denver. Atlanta coming off a tough loss to the New Orleans Saints, while the Broncos are coming off a loss to Kansas City. a game in which, yeah, surprise, surprise, they lost to the Chiefs again. But how about the Chiefs blocking the game-winning field goal for Denver? I mean, Kansas City just continues to find the most improbable ways to win games. But um, this one was tough again because I was going back and forth about this one. But I think the one I think the deciding thing for me here is, who do I trust more to come back after a bad loss? I would say that would be the Broncos because they're at home and their defense is still playing really tough outside of that Baltimore game a couple weeks ago. But with a rookie quarterback like Bo Nix, who doesn't have that type of experience just yet, it's hard to tell. Whereas the Falcons, they have a veteran in Kirk Cousins, and they still have that offense that's capable of clicking on all cylinders at any given moment. And Atlanta does have a sketchy defense as well. So that's why this one's hard for me to pick. Normally in this situation, I'd go home team, but I think I'm going to lean more towards Atlanta in this one right here because I think they have more experience and I think that they're a more well-rounded team than the Broncos are. So, yeah, as much as I want to pick Denver, I don't know with them reeling off a tough loss like that. I'm going to take Atlanta to win this game over Denver. Then we got the Seahawks and the 49ers in San Francisco, as the Seahawks had their bye week, but Seattle has definitely slumped, and I think the clock has struck midnight on them. Like, I thought the Seahawks would be either really good or they would be very mediocre this season, and it looks like the latter's happening. So, believe it or not, they're currently last in the NFC West because the Rams own the tiebreaker over them. And their opponent, the 49ers, also own the tiebreaker over them because San Francisco has beaten them 6 straight times. And with CMC playing in his second game, even though he didn't have that great of a game in his return against Tampa, not holding that against him completely because that was his first game of the season. So he still has time to get things through. And we've seen this pattern with the 49ers over the past couple of seasons. They start the season off kind of slow, but then after the bye week or at around mid-season, which this just happens to be both cases with San Francisco, they start to play their best type of football. And I think that's going to continue again. I'm going to take the 49ers to win it over the Seahawks. Once again, complete the sweep of them for the third straight season. Simply because I just think the 49ers are the hotter team. They're the hotter hand. Seattle is just on a bad slump right now. So I'm going to take the 49ers to win this game. Then we got what everybody would say is their game of the week. I think it just misses out, my opinion, but it's still going to be a great game nonetheless. Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead, as the Bills beat up on the Colts. Final score of 30-20. It suggests it was a close game, but it really wasn't a close game at all. Indy got a garbage time touchdown. But yeah, the Bills are 8-2. That's their best start since 1993, believe it or not. As the Bills are playing some really good football. They have the AFC East won. They are not losing that division. So you can just clinch a playoff spot for Buffalo right now for all you know. And the Kansas City Chiefs are 9-0. Like I said, block game winning field goal against the Broncos. They rallied from an 11-point deficit to beat them. The Chiefs do it again. I don't know. I don't know how this team continues to find the most improbable, impossible ways to win, but hey, that's what happened with the Pats dynasty. They found the most improbable ways to win. So I guess it's true when people say the Chiefs are the new Patriots, except the Chiefs don't cheat. Anyway, Kansas City's defense is really strong, and Buffalo's offense is really strong, so something has to give for this game here. So I think it's going to come down to who I trust more with the ball would be next in line. But then again, these are two of the top quarterbacks in the league going at it with Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Actually, I'm sorry, this game's in Buffalo, not Arrowhead. I'm sorry. But regardless, you got Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, two of the best quarterbacks in the NFL going at it. So, with those two things canceling each other out right there, I think it comes down to the overall meaning of this game. We all know the Chiefs have won the 3 playoff matchups against Buffalo, but the Bills, they seem to win it in the regular season against Kansas City, as it's been highlighted in the past couple of seasons. And I think that's going to be the case again. That's right, guys. I think the Buffalo Bills hand Kansas City their first loss of the season. It's only going to be a matter of time before the devil magic runs out for Kansas City. And against an elite team like Buffalo, in this type of condition, in this game, in Buffalo, in front of that packed house, I think the Bills can do it. I really think they can. I would actually take the under for this game because I think this is going to be a really good defensive game. I really don't see this being a shootout like a lot of people say it is. But regardless, I think the Buffalo Bills hand Kansas City their first loss. If the Chiefs win this game, I really don't know if there's another game I can pick them to lose, except for maybe week 18, because by then Kansas City will have the West wrapped up and they'll probably just be resting starters with a first round bye. But yeah, I'm going to say Buffalo hands Kansas City their first loss of the season. Sunday Night Football in LA. We got the Bengals and the Chargers going at it in LA. As the Bengals, like I said earlier, 35-34 loss to Baltimore, and a very questionable 2-point attempt on that touchdown by Joe Burrow. And Joe Burrow threw for over 400 yards in that game, and Jamar Chase had over 250 receiving yards, and the Bengals lost because their defense is atrocious. Meanwhile, the Chargers, they continue to play well. I think they're 6-3 on the season. So this one was difficult to decide because the Bengals, their playoff hopes are pretty much dead. And the Chargers, they're still battling for a playoff spot. But I see this game as being a desperation game for the Bengals. They really need to get some wins right now. Their backs are against the wall. The Chargers, they do have room for error, but I don't think anyone expects them to win the West, as I think LA is going to be in the playoffs when it's all said and done in January. So, a difficult one for me to decide. But like I always say in these videos, the Bengals last played Thursday, and they had those extra days of rest. I tend to go with the teams that played on Thursday. Excuse me. I tend to go with the teams that played on Thursday and have that extra rest in these types of games. And that's what I'm going to do here. I'm actually going to take the Bengals to win this game. Not saying that I think Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are going to replicate what they did last Thursday, but I think the Bengals come away as they're the more desperate team going into this matchup here. And concluding week 11, we got Monday Night Football as we got the Battle of Texas, Houston Texans and the Dallas Cowboys going at it in Dallas. And this one is another easy one for me to decide. I don't think it's going to be much of a battle, but I got the Texans winning this one here. The Cowboys are complete and utter trash. I don't care if Dak Prescott is out for the rest of the season as he's seeing a hamstring specialist. I don't care about that. I don't care if Cooper Rush is their backup. The Cowboys have played terrible at home this season, and their defense has just been getting banged left and right by everybody. The Texans are coming off an inexcusable loss to Detroit, where they picked off Jared Goff 5 times and still lost. I think the Texans are going to be feeling the effects of that loss, and they're going to roll into Dallas, and they're going to take all their anger out on their in-state rivals on national TV. I like CJ Stroud and Tank Dell having big games in this one here. I can't see Houston dropping 3 straight, even though they've been playing poorly lately. So I'm going to take the Texans to win this one over the Cowboys. How about that? A half hour, by far my shortest weekly picks video I've made this season. How do you like that for short? Mac, checking on out for the day. Let me know what you instinct down in the comments below. Forgot to mention there are 4 teams on the bye week, so 14 games. We got the Giants, Cardinals, Bucks, and Panthers on the bye. I did not mention that at the beginning, but I did it now. Mac, checking on out for the day. Let me know what you think, and have a good one, everybody.